Well, hey everybody, this is Chris DeFirio with Keys to the Shop. Welcome to another edition of Shift Break. Today's episode is brought to you by La Marzocco, who has been creating espresso machines by hand in Florence since 1927. Over the course of nearly 100 years, they have been serving and innovating for their customers in the retail coffee community, and that is why they are such a household name the world over. A perfect example of innovation based around user experience is the KB90 espresso machine that introduced to the industry straight-in locking portafilters as gram scales built into the drip tray for consistency and extraction, as well as auto flush in the group heads for cleanliness, and that's just one of many examples of espresso machines that can fit any context that you have in your shop. La Marzocco is available to help you get the right machine for your shop. All you need to do is reach out to info@lamarzocco.usa.com, and one of their lovely salespeople will help you out. And you can also check out their website, lamarzocco.usa.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by Espressly, creating amazing custom-branded mobile apps for your business, helping you bring together the convenience of mobile ordering with the experience your customers have come to love from your brand. Yeah, this is a no-risk model. All you need to do, this is a no-risk model. There's no setup or development fees. You get a drive-through payment scanner, receipt and label printing capabilities. All of the data is stored in the app, and it integrates with some of the world's best payment processing systems, including Square. So if you've been thinking about mobile ordering and apps, and you want to deliver to your customers a wonderful user experience, then you need to look into using Espressly. To find out more information and sign up today, go visit them over at espressly.co. That's espressly.co. Okay, everyone. Well, today we want to talk about why patience is not always a virtue. Now, let me explain this a little bit. Patience is a virtue. It's nice to be patient. It's great to coach people, give them opportunity to be successful, give them opportunity to respond to criticism and feedback and other things like that, to improve their work. And, we are a part of that process too. As leaders, we have to own up to where we've let our staff down and we can improve our systems and all of that. And it's important to know that we've done all that we can in our power as leaders to create opportunities for success for those we lead. Now, there is a point at which somebody is, as an individual, responsible for themselves, for their own work ethic, for their own life, and we cannot simply, be bosses like Weekend at Bernie's. We're not going to prop up employees that have no life and refuse to take responsibility for their actions and always shift the blame over to bosses and managers, etc. It's a give and a take, and it's a two-way street. There is more than just the well-being of the individual at stake when it comes to how you manage and lead. As a leader, you have to actually be responsible for the collective. The company is the people, so you have to make decisions sometimes for the benefit of everybody else that might be difficult for one person. I'll give you a great example of this, okay? A while ago, I was working at a company that was 10 years old and had never fired a barista ever. In 10 years, never fired a barista. And it was remarkable that that was true because when you think about 10 years of operating a coffee shop with a couple locations, you think, there's going to be some people that are underperforming, and you're not just going to get all these golden employees for 10 years. So something is happening here. And what's likely happening is that behavioral issues or performance issues, some toxicity, bad habits, things like that are just being kind of winked at, glossed over. Now, as somebody who came in from the outside, I didn't really understand this. And so within 2 months, we had fired our first employee ever. It was a really long, drawn-out thing that definitely needed to happen. The individual was making decisions that would impact everybody regarding, not even showing up to open the shop multiple times. There was all sorts of dysfunction here. And even when on shift, not really doing much, it was not a good scene. But because of personality and relationships, it was allowed to continue. Now, as emotional as that was, it was a really important moment. because it drew a line that said there's only so much that relationship and grace can cover before decisions have to be made. And you know what happened after that was a lot of people, even though they were sad to see the person go, were also relieved because they had to pick up the slack for their lack of work, for the impact it had on customers and how agitated they were. They couldn't get their coffee in the morning because the shop wasn't open. There's all sorts of, we won't call them benefits, but there are all sorts of challenges that were alleviated for other people, the customers and the staff, from that one decision. And that individual had plenty of opportunity to switch up their act, and lots of opportunity was given, methodically talking through warnings and all of that stuff, right? Going through the process. But again, a decision needed to be made. And you might be in this moment right now with some of your staff. Hopefully, if you are a Keys to the Shop listener, again, I'll reiterate how important it is to extend grace in a systematic way and give opportunity to people to succeed through resourcing and coaching and all of that stuff. But like the title of this episode says, there's a point at which patience is not a virtue and it becomes an enabling device. It becomes a tactic of avoidance. Extending patience and grace past a certain point becomes negligence, because the individual that you're thinking about that probably needs to be let go after you've gone through this whole process with them, but you just can't do it because this individual is refusing to take up a mantle of caring for those around them. It is on you to do that. And when you do that, what you'll find more often than not, when you've done this the right way, is that it's a relief for those who had to deal with the dysfunction that this one person brought into the mix. You don't have to necessarily think about patience as being something that you lack. Like, I lack patience when, I have no more patience for this person. It's not, I don't think it's helpful to put it in a negative term. It's not so much that you are without patience, it's that you have extended patience, and now we're going to add to that patience leadership, strength, decision-making. It's an and, not an instead of. And so ask yourself the question, at what point in my coffee shop does patience cease to be a virtue and start to become something that enables an individual to really damage the company, which is, as we said, people. The company is people. That's what company is. It's a collection of people around a common goal. Your job is to care for this group. And at a certain point, you need to draw a line. That's either disciplinary action or it could be letting somebody go. And in that moment, while it might not seem it emotionally, what you're actually doing is exercising care for the collective. Yes, it's a difficult decision, but it's one that should be made and not avoided under the guise of patience. So I hope that this has been helpful for you to think through. This episode is not meant to give you just carte blanche on, reactiveness. Obviously, we're not fans of being reactive. We want mindful decisions. We do want patience and grace. But it's only to say, as you consider your next steps with challenging employees, you should consider where that patience turns from virtue into negligence and enabling. So that said, I hope again that this was helpful. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you here next week for another edition of Shift Break. From Keys to the Shop.